Magandang umaga, Malacañang Press Corps, and welcome sa ating press briefing ngayong araw, March 12. On March 6, Houthi rebels mounted their first fatal attack since the crisis started last year. They attacked MV True Confidence, a Barbados flagged ship in the Gulf of Aden. 3 members of the crew were killed. 2 of them were Filipinos. 2 other Filipinos were seriously wounded in the attack and are now still recovering in Djibouti City. The other 11 Filipinos on that ship have been evacuated and they are unharmed and are coming home to the Philippines today. Nagpaabot ng pakikiramay si Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. sa pamilya ng mga nasawing Pilipino sa nangyaring insidente. Meanwhile, the Department of Foreign Affairs is closely coordinating with the Department of Migrant Workers and other agencies in extending assistance to the affected Filipinos and their families. And to give us the latest developments on this issue, we have here today Department of Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Eduardo De Vega. Good morning, Yusek De Vega.
Good morning, Ramadan Karim, to our Muslim brothers and sisters. Yes. To speak of this issue, so following the President's directive, we've been providing the best assistance that we could in coordination with the manning agency, which is of course primarily responsible for working on the return of the seafarers. So the DFA is involved here partly because, well, in the case of countries, for example, like Djibouti, where there is no resident embassy or migrant workers office, it should be the closest embassy which should be coordinating matters on the ground. So what happened was we sent the embassy team from Cairo, our closest embassy, to meet the 13 surviving seafarers, including the 3 who were in the hospital, who are in the hospital. We provided the first tranche of financial assistance. This was from the Department of Foreign Affairs. We gave them $1,000 each. And to check on their repatriation. So we'd like to confirm what was mentioned. This early evening at 6:15, they're set to arrive via Ethiopian Airlines from Hong Kong, and stop over in Hong Kong because they'll be flown from Djibouti to Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, and from there to the Philippines. Now, as for the 3 seafarers who were injured, actually 1 has recovered and will be joining the 10 others who were not injured. So that's why there are 11 coming home tonight. 2 are still in the hospital, as mentioned. They are recovering, although the injuries were grave. An ordinary seaman who suffered facial burns, severe facial burns, and the cook who, had to have his leg amputated. However, this time the Department of Migrant Workers, under the all of government approach, is working with the manning agency for their repatriation, which will have to come later in the week. So nagpadala po yung Department of Migrant Workers din ng kanilang mga katawan na based in Riyadh, pinadala yung kanilang attaché at saka yung welfare officer. They're in Djibouti, and they'll take charge of the 2 remaining seafarers. Working with the manning agency, we expect that they will be flown home in a special what you call air ambulance within the next few days. Of course, there's now the issue of the 2 deceased seafarers, and again, the Philippine government, headed by President Marcos, reiterates our sincerest condolences to the families. Their bodies have not yet been recovered, partially because the ship was still burning as of a few days ago. But the manning agencies also report that they are now trying to bring the ship to a nearby port where it will be salvaged and hopefully the remains recovered and eventually to be brought home to the Philippines. Pag-uwi po mamaya ng gabi ng ating mga seafarers, Hindi lang DFA ang sasalubong sa kanila, nandun din ang DMW, OWA, DOH. In fact, Secretary Herbosa might himself be there. DSWD and some legislators. And what's going to happen is that there will be more assistance packages provided them. We'd like to highlight as well that while this is a tragedy, there has been progress in what the government has been trying to do, which is limit the risk for our seafarers. Last February, the DMW issued an advisory based on an agreement reached with the International Transport Workers Federation, which defined the latest what you call warlike and high-risk areas, effective February 16. And that included the area around the Yemeni coast. Under such classification as a warlike operation area, the seafarers have to be given the right to refuse sailing with repatriation at company cost and compensation equal to 2 months' wage, basic wage. Or if they continue to go, they have to have a bonus equivalent to their basic wage, or double compensation, obviously also for death and disability benefits. And what has happened is that, as you know, last March 6 was a tragic incident, but Houthi attacks occur practically daily on ships traversing the area. And this is the first time we've had Philippine injuries or casualties. And that is because there have been no seafarers, no Filipino seafarers aboard the other ships which have been attacked by the Houthis. That means the manning agencies are following the directive of the government to limit the presence of Filipino seafarers or have them have the option to refuse. Of course, we know that the biggest shipping agencies are actually, even at great cost, using the other route through the Cape of Good Hope. Of course, it affects the global supply chain, and of course, freedom of navigation or commerce. Nevertheless, safety is paramount. So, ganun po. Again, I repeat, there are 11 coming home tonight. 2 more via special, not on commercial flight, but via special ambulance, air ambulance. This is under the DMW in the next few days, where they will, of course, also be welcomed and assisted. This is all a part of the Philippines' long-standing efforts to protect and assist our seafarers and their families, and of course, pursuant to the directive of the President. So we hope the nation will welcome our brave seafarers when they arrive later this afternoon. Salamat po.
Okay. Thank you, Yusek. Questions from Malacañang Press Corps? Eden Santos, Net 25.
Good morning po, sir. Yun po bang classification na warlike and high risk ay bago po ba ito or matagal na rin nating ipinapatupad before?
This was effective February 16, pero palaging merong warlike and high-risk areas. For example, yung areas close to Ukraine, in the northern Black Sea, have been identified as warlike operations area even from before. This list is updated always, and the latest update was February 16, which included now the Yemeni coast. And under that, may mga rules dapat about how much compensation will be given to the seafarers. If you note also, by the way, the acts that are occurring now have been condemned by the UN Security Council. So we have allies, we have friends who are with us, and countries in the region are also assisting, or other countries in the operations that they are conducting in response to these Houthi attacks. But we have been in touch with the UK and the USA to ensure that no harm comes to our seafarers. Let us remember there are still 17 seafarers aboard the Galaxy Leader who are still being held in Hodeida for over 100 days already by the Houthis, and we're still working with friendly governments to see if they could be released. But the Houthis are consistent in their statement that it would need an end to the war in Gaza before they will release the ship or the seafarers. But at the very least, we know that the seafarers are safe. Of course, they're not in a great condition. They're not in the best of conditions, no. But they are safe and able to contact their families. I just want to take advantage of this occasion para, to ensure the families that we haven't forgotten them, no. Ginagawa namin lahat ng magagawa, although it's really not just a Philippine issue, it's a global issue. At palaging kinakausap namin yung pamilya yung DMW, palaging nakikipagpulong sa mga pamilya, so para bigyan silang updates. So ganun po. So may warlike and high risk areas talaga, and kasama na ngayon yung Yemeni coast.
Mga ilan po ito lahat, promote na taga. Sir, yung mga warlike and high risk areas po, kasama yung Yemeni coast.
I would say there are 7. I can name them.
Okay.
All right. There's the Yemeni coast. There's the malapit doon, southern section of the Red Sea. There's the number 3 is the Gulf of Guinea, which is in Liberia, near Liberia, Ivory Coast. Number 4 is the Sea of Azov and the Strait of Kerch. Number 5 is these are in reaction to what's happening in the Ukraine. Number 5 is the northern Black Sea region. Number 6, all ports in Ukraine. And number 7, the Black Sea. So essentially 3 areas: the Yemeni Red Sea, part of the coast of Africa, and the area around the Black Sea in the Ukraine. So, by the way, let's emphasize. Filipino seafarers are vital to the world shipping industry. We know that. Nearly 1/4 of all the world seafarers are Filipinos. So about 490,000, maybe 500,000 of them are at sea. So we thank countries as well for assisting us. For example, the Indian Navy rescued our seafarers. Djibouti is working with us on the Filipino seafarers on the ground. And other countries, of course, have been making their statements, including through the UN, about the need to stop these attacks on shipping. No? So ganun po. And this is an advisory regularly issued by the Department of Migrant Workers. And OIC Hans Kakdak is now in Germany with the president, but he's in touch with us. By the way, off the record, you called me secretary. I'm actually now designated as acting secretary of Foreign Affairs because because the secretary is in Germany. And
at least congratulations.
And I am answering you everything about OFWs only or migrant workers only, which is my real task for the DFA.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yusek, follow-up question lang po. Yung under dun sa classification na the seafarers are given right to refuse.
Yes.
Na seafarer. Why given them the right to refuse instead of talagang wag na lang silang sumampa muna o bumiyahe para makaiwas po dun sa
Well, you see, kung right to refuse, parang you're making a ban on them to enter, because sometimes if you talk to seafarers, when they leave the Philippines, they might not know the full trajectory of the voyage. In other words, punta sa isang port, tapos lilipat sa ibang ship. So, in other words, by saying wag na lang humayag, in fact, you're telling them wag sila umalis ng Pilipinas. So, nevertheless, that's something we'll bring forward to the Department of Migrant Workers. Of course, the Congress is still debating. In fact, there's going to be a hearing at the House tomorrow on on the migrant workers bill they're making, and then they're still trying to reformulate this seafarers bill, no, and we'll see what they might do, no. Although this is not the DFA's call. Decisions on banning deployment are with the DMW. We understand your point, no, but then again, Filipino seafarers also are known for their skills, and we don't want to stop them from undertaking these missions. Of course, by the way, I said Filipino seafarers are known, no, but then again, there are other countries with seafarers. So you might know also that on a related topic, on Sunday, there were 9 seafarers naman who returned from Iran, because there's another ship being held by the Iranians, but it's not a war zone. There were originally 18 of them, and one arrived last February. 9 arrived a few days ago. 2 more will arrive this week, so that will leave 6 more seafarers. What's keeping them from going home? They're not hostages. We just need to have them replaced, and the manning agency is searching for other seafarers. So itong 12 na makakauwi na o nakauwi na have been replaced by seafarers from other countries. So the Iran situation is different. It's not under a war zone, and the reason why the ship was taken was because of a dispute on the ownership. The situation, though, in Yemen, of course, is rather different. We're talking about a Warlike area now.
Okay. Question from Pia Gutierrez, ABS-CBN.
Hi, Yusek. Yusek, the president is in Germany right now, and the Philippines and Germany are set to sign a maritime cooperation agreement. Posible po bang pag-usapan doon efforts of Germany to ensure the safety of Filipino seafarers, considering these threats po?
For sure, it will be spoken about. For sure, absolutely.
Ano po yung expectations po natin pagdating doon sa mga efforts na yun, sir?
Well, of course, ang expectation natin, we're not going to tell Germany what to do, obviously. We're not going to tell them join the coalition or what. But we do expect, and they will, ensure that for ships bound for Germany, for example, for German ports or for German flagged vessels, that they'll give the highest protection to our seafarers, and also where the situation in the Red Sea is concerned, that of course they will render the voice to and join the calls for an end to the current attacks and the release of our seafarers. And let's see the statement they make after the meeting. We're sure it's going to be very successful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ivan Mayrina, GMA7.
The Filipino seafarers, I would assume, know the risks involved in sailing in these high-risk areas. But just curious, Yusek, do they actually exercise the right to decline? Do they actually decline? Or does the double compensation actually even encourage them more to take those high-risk voyages?
The DMW would have, and Marina would have better first-hand information about this. But the statistics show that they are declining. Especially after what happened now, they will be declining. Because there are few seafarers now, Filipino seafarers now, aboard ships plying that route, which means they are declining. Otherwise, we expect a lot more because, again, day after day, there's always a ship being attacked, although possibly none like what happened to the MV True Confidence, which was destroyed, no? But every day, Marina, the manning agency, DMW inform the president and the DFA, or there's another ship which is subjected to an attack or an attempted attack, and they check immediately if they're Filipino seafarers, and there are none. Mm-hmm. So it's not that the Filipino seafarers disappeared. It means that they are exercising the right of refusal or are being given other routes. As you know, big agencies, as I said, the big companies are passing through the African route, so that's probably what's happening. We do know some will be motivated because of the double compensation, but after this incident, perhaps that will discourage them. May I say, we also hope that in the season of Ramadan that there will be a solution to all these conflicts in the Middle East now, because in the end, peace is the best solution to everything.
Okay. Alexis Romero, Philippine Star.
Yusek, given what happened, does the DFA think na it's about time that finally ma-enact na yung Magna Carta for seafarers, because we understand it was about to be signed and then it was delayed because it's under review. So what's the DFA stance on that given these contexts?
We do believe that any law which will improve the lot of seafarers should be signed as soon as possible, but we fully respect the President and the legislators' desire to improve the bill as it is. No, but certainly we'd like to see a bill come out, a law passed.
So you want it probably as soon as possible?
Yes, but not so soon that they forget whatever they wanted to fix in the first place, no? Pero sana mapasa right away.
Thank you, Yusek.
Thank you.
Noel Talakay, PTV.
Good morning po, Yusek. Follow-up ko lang po yung question kanina ni Sir Ivan. Kung may option po yung mga seafarers na maglayag po, so palagay niyo po ba na ano sila, hindi sila binigyan ng option na maglayag doon? Are we going to conduct an investigation as well sa kung may maging accountable po ba yung manning agency o yung owner ng ship? Tapos nagkaroon po last week ata ng salvaging operation. So ano po nangyari doon? May update po ba? Ano po ba ang challenges din para ma-identify yung dalawang namatay na Filipino?
Alright,
Thank you.
yung pangalawa muna. Yung salvaging operation, are you referring to MV True Confidence? As of last night, it's not yet being undertaken kasi dinadala pa yung barko somewhere, no? And we can't really indicate now saan dinadala kasi baka atakin ng mga hostile forces, no? The difficulty in identifying would be the fact that hopefully they were not burnt beyond recognition. Kasi nung nag-abandon ship yung mga seafarers, sabi nila, yung dalawa kasi, tatlo actually, may isang Vietnamese, naipit sa lugar na nasusunog. Let's hope, of course, miracles still happen. No? We never know. They might have escaped or what, no? But we're going by the presumption that they perished. Right? So, yun ang isang issue. We'll update you on that. No? Yung first question, certainly we'll encourage the DMW to check on this. Kung naintindihan ko yung tanong niyo, ibig sabihin, napilitan ba itong 15?
Yes po.
Well, we can ask them tonight when they arrive. Kasama yan sa natural set of questions na tatanungin ng mga concerned agencies, no? Kung bakit kayo nandun? Alam ba nyo, nadadaan kayo doon? At kung hindi pala nila alam or pinilit lang sila, then we have to take the right actions against the manning agency. But we'd like to think they did not violate any of these advisories that were issued by the government.
Okay. Tuesday New, DZBB.
Good morning, sir. Sir, do you have data as to how grave are these incidents affecting our deployment of seafarers and how this affects the seafaring industry now?
Well, I don't have the empirical data yet. How brave? You mean brazen or brave? How brave? How grave? How grave? Ito ba, any situation wherein you have ships being attacked is always grave. It's a grave situation for us to have 7 areas designated as warlike operations or high-risk areas. However, dun sa ibang areas mentioned outside the Yemeni coast and the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, we haven't had Filipino casualties. So to us, it's already grave enough na may namatay. Now, as for more empirical data, this will have to come from other sources, no? But hopefully this will be the last incident where we have Filipino seafarers or other seafarers being killed by an attack, no? Thank you po.
Okay, Melvin Gascon, Philippine Daily Inquirer.
Good morning. Good morning, Sir Yusek. My question is about the unresolved issue on Galaxy Leader. I understand you mentioned yesterday there's some complexity in terms of asking for the release of the 17 because of the so-called diplomatic demands. My question is, what sort of concrete efforts is the DFA doing so that you can work on the release eventually?
Well, our honorary consul in Yemen is a Yemeni national, and he's always in touch with that government. Of course, the Houthis call themselves the legitimate Yemeni government. We recognize the one in Aden, no? We're always in touch with them, and the problem is there's only one response, that we'll only release in case the situation in Gaza is already resolved. We have been talking with friendly countries around the region who have assisted us in the past. If you remember, countries like Qatar helped us for the release of the 2 Filipino hostages held by the Hamas. We talked to Israel and Egypt, and that allowed us to have our citizens leave Gaza. No, there were originally 137, now 136 have left. There's only the Filipino none remaining, no? But that's different. There we were just asking for them to be allowed to leave or to be released. Ito, we're talking about another ship and seafarers. But one concrete effort we're undertaking is we're also working with the ambassadors and the governments of the other countries with hostages aboard. Remember, there's the Romanian government, there's a Bulgarian, Mexican, Ukrainian, and there simply seems to be no solution other than what they demand. That's why we said that sana, we hope, that there'll be a solution in Gaza and Israel, which is being worked on, and they'll be released. But at the very least, one thing we're always in touch with the Houthis about is to ensure that they are treated well and they are able to contact their families. There was a time they could not, but now they're able to contact their families again, no? So it's a very complicated situation, no? We'll update you more on the efforts we're undertaking. So, yun nga, first and foremost, safety. Hindi sila nakakalimutan. The last time they took Filipino hostages, or Filipinos, there was a ship captain some years ago. It took about 5 months or 6 months. And that was not under a warlike situation. So, our hearts go out to the families, no? Pero hindi namin kayo nakalimutan, no? Meron tayong mga konting tagumpay na may napapauwing mga seafarers tayo, pero syempre ang vision natin, ang nais natin makauwi lahat, buhay. And we'll continue working on that, no?
Okay.
By the way, I have another announcement, no? The Secretary of Foreign Affairs has signed a department order. It's going to take effect once it's published or it's registered with the UP Law Center, renaming my particular unit. No, kasi I am officially the head of what you call the Office of the Undersecretary for Migrant Workers Affairs. So I'm Undersecretary for Migrant Workers. That confuses people who sometimes think I am with the DMW. Now, under the new law, certain functions have to be transferred already to the DMW, and we're under the transition. We're passing a lot of these functions, no? Though it's still a work in progress. But we can't lose the existence of the office because we still have our own funds, our own assistance to nationals and legal assistance funds for Filipinos who are not, for example, who are not migrant workers. Kasi ang DMW, fully migrant workers. Pero kunyari, turista, estudyante, or even permanent residents, kami pa rin. So we're going to name our office the Undersecretary for Migration Affairs. Office of the Undersecretary for Migration Affairs. So I'll be USEC for Migration Affairs, which therefore means we'll focus not just on the assistance but on the policy issues, because DFA, of course, still has a primary role in defining policy. And DMW will be, of course, deployment, regulation of deployment. Sila nag-decide kung magbaban, kung papayag tayo ng ganyan, no? To give a good example of a distinction, recently, yung nangyari sa Thailand, they were tourists, are transpenized there. And wala namang labor office dun sa Bangkok. So we handled it. At nakauwi na silang 4, 3 on Friday and 1 on Saturday. So all's well that ends well. That was, of course, an interesting topic. But we're friends, and the Filipino government takes care of all our nationals abroad, whatever their gender identity is.
Okay. Well,
you.
on that note, I think
Yes.
that's a good way to end today's briefing, and congratulations on
Salamat po.
renaming your office to
Yes.
Undersecretary of Migration Affairs.
Migration Affairs.
That's great.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Malacañang Press Corps, and thank you, Undersecretary De Vega. Maraming salamat at good afternoon, everyone.
Salamat.